What up, guys? Welcome to Kyle's Best of 7. We have done our catchers, we have done our first baseman, we have done our second baseman, and we have done our third baseman. Our top third baseman was Chipper Jones. Our top second baseman was Roberto Alomar. Our top first baseman was Frank Thomas. It is now Lou Gehrig. We've talked about this. And my top catcher was Jorge Posada. We are now doing our top 7 shortstops. And remember, a lot of you guys have been getting upset about my list. Please do not. It is my personal list. It is my personal opinion. There's some guys I haven't gotten the chance to play with, and there's some guys that just maybe didn't do well against me, so maybe I'm a little biased. This is going to be a biased list, but I'm telling you who my personal top 7 are, value considered, all of that. All right? We're going to our top 7 shortstops. Here is number 7. At number 7, we have Jose Reyes. Now, you guys know Jose Reyes. Even his other cards have always been really good. This year, he has a Signature Series card. It also plays second base and third base. I need to give him a try on my main team, I think, because he may be better than Roberto Alomar. But anyways, 98 speed, 98 stealing. You guys know I love speed. With a switch hitter bat that has 102 contact and 109 contact versus both sides, 66 power, 70 power. With a 116 vision, this card is a card that can easily get on base, and with that speed, he is absolutely insane. I love this card. He has a 95 clutch. He can bunt for some of you guys that have that style. And he has an 83 fielding, which is still a gold shield. 86 arm, still a strong arm with an 86 reaction. He's definitely a good shortstop. Definitely a guy that you can use. He's not too expensive. You can play him at second. You can play him at third. I haven't gotten to use him yet, but just looking at his stats, I think I may need to. I definitely like the style he has, especially as a switch hitter. So this is our number 7 shortstop. On to number 6. Troy Tulowitzki. Now, my one gripe with Troy Tulowitzki is that his fielding I felt should have been a diamond. It's basing it off his best years. I think he was well deserving of a 90 and above. I know it's just 1 point, but that's the difference between a diamond shield and a golden shield when you're fielding. He still has an amazing arm, as Tulo should, a 96 arm. So he's still a great fielder, but there's some people have that gripe that say that it should have been a little better. His hitting stats, some feel that he could have had a little more power. 101 contact versus righties, 90 power versus righties, 113 contact versus lefties, and a 96 power versus lefties. He still has a pretty good vision at 94, and his speed's not too bad. This card overall I thought could have been better, but he's still a really good shortstop. He still hits jacks. A lot of people use him still, and a lot of people do really well with him against me. So that is the reason why I feel he's number 6, because I know what he's capable of. He's a really good hitter and a really good fielder at short. Definitely worthy of being in the top 7. Troy Tulowitzki is our number 6 shortstop. Now, number 5 is a personal favorite of mine, Fernando Tatis Jr., his finest card. The reason why I really like him is because I have him on my bench, and he's by far been one of my favorite guys to use. The reason for this is because you have him in your bench at shortstop, right? And a lot of you guys, for some reason, had a problem with me listing bench bats on my top 7. So let's think about this for a second, okay? You're mad that you're saying these top guys should be guys that I should start. I can only have one of these guys starting. So I can't have 7 starters. So let's get that out of the way first. You're mad that I don't have some guys that can be considered starters in my top 7, but I have bench bats. If I don't consider them starters or bench bats, why should I have them on the list above guys that I actually have on my bench? Some people had a problem with Chris Bryant in my last listing, and I was just kind of confused because they wanted me to have George Brett. I'm not having George Brett there because I'm not starting him or having him on my bench. How can I have him as a top 7 on my list? You get what I'm saying? So these are personal favorites, personal top 7s. I want you guys to remember that. Now, Fernando Tatis, I have him on my bench. He's a backup shortstop, backup second baseman, backup third baseman. If I need to substitute for any of these guys, I can do that. He goes in any of those spots just fine. His fielding's a 78, it's still decent. 87 arm strength, he can still get stuff done. If I need to pinch run, 91 speed, 82 stealing. He can pinch run. If I need to pitch hit against the lefties in a platoon advantage, 120 contact, 107 power versus lefties. Even against righties at 91-91, he's no slouch. His vision is the only thing that can use some improvements, but this guy to me is a must-have on the bench. I'm batting 400 with him. He has a jack, 4 RBIs. He's has a 1.1 OPS in the games that I have used him. Okay, so I really like this guy. I mean, I think he's a must-have on your bench. I have him on my bench. He will not leave my bench. I suggest you guys give him a try. Really good. My number 5, shortstop. Number 4, Frankie Lindor. The 95 fielding is so huge at shortstop. With a 93 reaction, Frankie Lindor is one of those guys that can get those glitchy dive-in plays at short, at any angle, can close the gap, can get plays done. A switch-hitting bat. One thing that you guys need to know about base runners. He has a 70 speed. That's not that good. But for some reason in this game, when somebody has a higher stealing than speed, they're glitchy. They can steal bags. I'm not sure why. It's always been like that. It doesn't matter who it is. Anyways, let's get to his hitting stats. He's a switch hitter. You guys know this. 101 contact versus righties, 97 power versus righties, 81 contact versus lefties, and 79 power versus lefties. His lefties could use a little bit of work compared to other guys, but as a switch bat, he'll always have the platoon advantage, so you can feel comfortable with him. Obviously rakes against righties. 113 vision, but his fielding definitely makes him one of the best cards in the game. 81 arm strength could use a little bit of improvement, but overall, Frankie Lindor is well deserving of being in the top 5. Our number 4 is Frankie Lindor. Our number 3 is Ernie Banks. Look how freaking stacked this card is. Now, I used his 93 version card on my ESL team, and he was still one of my best players. I think it has something to do with his swing, that and the fact that he can rake against righties and lefties at pretty much the same pace. But his fielding is a diamond. He is an 86 fielding, 85 arm strength, 83 reaction. Really just a consistent fielder. He can get to pretty much any ball. I mean, he's a really good fielder. I've used him tons of times. The guy has crazy range. His speed's the only thing that can use a little bit of improvement, but look at his hitting stats. 101, 104, 104, 107 with a 118 vision. This guy rakes against both sides, absolute force. With an 87 discipline still, 105 clutch, this card is really good. I haven't gotten the pleasure of using this Signature Series version, but knowing how his card with lesser stats plays, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this card's amazing. Number 3, Ernie Banks. Now, number 2 happens to be the shortstop that I use. Mr. Handsome Squidward, my cap. Now, I'm going to show you guys something. Right now, you look at these stats, and they don't look good. You know what I mean? They just don't. He's an 89 diamond, whatever. 84 contact versus righties, 81 power versus righties, 77 contact versus lefties, 78 power versus lefties, 80 vision. Not that impressive. Let me show you something. With equipment, once you get into the load-in screen, you see what their actual stats are. Now look at this. 103 contact versus righties, 104 power versus righties, 96 contact versus lefties, 101 power versus lefties. He has a 99 vision. Look at his fielding stats. 91 fielding, 90 arm strength, 90 reaction. That's what you want at shortstop. That's amazing. An 80 speed still with a 57 stealing. Now, the thing about your cap, there's one player that has better stats than these. I mean, there's well, that's why he's number 1, obviously. But there's also a couple guys that you could compare to that. But Handsome Squidward, or your cap, you can choose the batting stance on him. You can choose what height he has, which means you should always feel comfortable with your cap. He should potentially be the most comfortable player that you use. If there's another player that you use that you're more comfortable with in your cap, you should switch your cap stance to that guy and the same height. That's the only way. There's no reason you should feel uncomfortable with your cap. Now, not only is he a switch hitter and all that, but with the equipment and everything, it really makes him one of the best shortstop, and that's why I use him. It's so easy to train your guy to be a diamond. All you have to do is do the cap moments. It's super easy. There's no reason not to do it. I suggest you guys do it. Number 2 is your created player at shortstop. That's where I play mine. Now, number 1 isn't going to be a surprise to anybody. Probably the best card in the game. I will have him soon, you guys. I promise. It's just, it takes a lot of time to get him. There's a lot of collections you have to do. It's more just time consuming. Now that I have Jimmy Fox and all these guys, I could potentially get him and sell guys to get him. It's just I haven't had the patience to do it yet. But God, as I'm looking at these attributes, it's really, there's no excuse for me not to have him. 123 power versus, 123 contact versus righties, 125 contact versus lefties, 88 power versus righties, and an 89 power versus lefties with a maxed out vision. That means his PCI is going to be huge no matter what pitcher he's facing. And, I mean, he's just unbelievable. 93 discipline, 91 fielding, 90 arm strength, 87 reaction. He's an absolute glitch at shortstop, and you can play him anywhere else and he'll still be an amazing fielder. You can play him at first, third, or any spot in the outfield. 96 speed, 98 stealing. This card is basically the best card in the game, and that's why it's so hard to unlock him. If you guys have the funds or you have ways to get this card, you absolutely need to, because you look at this and it's clear that he is the best shortstop in the game and possibly the best player in the game. Make sure to try to get your hands on this guy. It'll be very worth it. Every time I face him, it seems like he's hitting a home run off me. That's why he's the most expensive card in the game. That's why it costs so much to get him. Make sure to get him, alright? I'll see you guys soon with the next one. Peace.